manage these transactions for our customers. So what do? We do three things: send, spend, and receive. So make it very simple. Send means sending money across borders, across countries. Spend is where we issue cards. So we can issue corporate cards, to businesses, and they can use this for their employees' travel and business travel and entertainment spend. And the third is receive, where we can help to collect money from your customers. So for example, if you are somebody based in Malaysia and you want to collect money from someone in Singapore, then we can open what we call as a virtual bank account for you in Singapore, and your customers can pay in Sing dollars in this virtual bank account that we open for you, and then we transfer this money to you instantly. So without your moving out of Malaysia, you can now suddenly have a bank account in Singapore, in Sing dollars, in which your customers can pay, and that money can be then made available to you instantly. So instead of the customer sending the money via wire transfer or bank transfer to you in Malaysia, you can now collect it much faster and at much cheaper rate. So that's called receive. It's called basically a way to collect money from overseas customers. So what happened during this year, as we looked at the impact of COVID-19 on small businesses, a few themes I'm sure you're all familiar about has emerged. SMEs or small businesses, the working capital is definitely a key concern, because the government provided a lot of liquidity. The government was trying to give soft loans to corporates so that they don't fold up. The banks were giving loans at a much cheaper rate because the government was trying to securitize those loans to the banks. But still, working capital and ability to have cash flow continues to be something that is of prime concern, especially for small and medium enterprises. Now, one part of this is getting the money. The second is the cost of the money. I mean, so what is the rate I have to pay? What is the interest I have to pay? What are the terms under which I will get this credit? So that again is equally important. So first is getting the money. Second is the cost of it. And the third is as Singapore opens up, like for example, Singapore is, as Siraj was saying, is getting into phase 3. So we're going to see some ease happening. Hopefully, with the vaccine coming in next year, more businesses will be able to open up, not just in Singapore, but in ASEAN markets and globally. So at that time, a lot of the losses that have happened for this year, people may want to reinvest in the business. So again, working capital and having the cash flow for investment becomes very important. On the other hand, if you have suppliers who have to pay, to who you have to pay, they are expecting timely payments also, because it's all linked, right? If you have suppliers who supply you goods and services, they need to be paid on time so that they can pay their own suppliers. So it's like a chain in which cash flow should move in a timely manner. And there are other expenses. So some businesses, even if like they're having a shutdown, like a travel agency for example, they are not doing too much business right now because there is no travel happening, but they still have to pay some small expenses like rent, or even if they have asked a lot of their employees to leave, but they still have to have some employees, so their salaries have to be paid. So these kind of small business expenses are still happening. So all these are challenges. Now the question is, in such an environment where you have all these various kinds of challenges that a small and medium enterprise is facing, what is it that we can do to save money and make these challenges a little bit easier? I'm going to share with you certain thoughts around how we do this. So the first thing is to look at how do we help you in terms of remittance or sending money to someone overseas. So you see, if you go on to the Instagram website, which you can access on Google, you will see that typically we have a page that appears where on the left side you will see the currencies and in which you want to pay us, and the currency in which you want to send the money to. So if you are in Singapore, you want to pay me Singapore dollar and you want to send money in US dollar. Okay. So this is typically what you will see on the screen. What you don't see on the screen is on this side, which is how is it that this is going to be different from just any bank transfer. So the first thing is, when you see when you send money through a bank, typically there are a lot of fees and charges which are inbuilt into the rate that the bank tells you at which they are going to send the money. Those are not disclosed to you. So basically what they do is they add everything into the rate and they tell you this is the rate. What they don't tell you is that in that rate, what are the fees and charges that they have included. What we try and do is demystify this whole thing and tell you exactly what are the fees and charges that you will be paying, so that as a remitter of the funds, you understand that what is the cost you are paying and what are you paying it for. So that's the most important thing. Second is, how do you track that what is the status of your payment? That means once you have initiated the transfer, how do you know where the money is, what time, when is the recipient going to get the money, and between now and when they get it, where is the money? So that is another way through which we kind of make this experience for you different than through a bank. The third is real-time payments. What this means is that for a lot of our customers, or for a lot of corridors, we can ensure that your recipient receives the money the same day, because we have APIs. APIs is a direct link between us and the banks. So we don't really go through a network of banks to transfer money. For a lot of corridors, we do a direct settlement with the bank in that country where we are sending money. So it's much faster and real time if there is real time payments available in that country. Now, another feature we have introduced is that you can also use a credit card to make a payment for the amount of money that you are sending, which makes us a little bit different. Today in the market, if you want to send money, typically they will ask you to first pay them using bank transfer or cash or whatever. But credit card as an option is not easily available as a solution. What we have introduced is the use of credit card as well, so that when you use credit cards, you can use the credit limit of the card to send the money. And then we also provide you a lot of data for reconciliation. So if you are a company, you're not an individual, you are a company, and as a company you want to you want to do accounting for all the transfers that you have done, then we also provide you reconciliation support. And our charges, we want to keep them low, so that we want that your recipient should receive either the full amount or maximum amount in the currency that you have asked the money to be sent to. So that's how we try and make this whole piece around payments to suppliers, workers, vendors, as easy and simplified as possible. Okay, the next. Okay. So as I was saying, we support fast payments. Now in countries like India, IMPS, Singapore, you have fast prompt pay. In Hong Kong, we have FPS. These are some examples of countries who allow fast payments. So if you are sending money to any of these countries or from these countries, we can do instant payments because of the local government supporting fast payments. So normally for these markets, payments could be within the same day. At the best, for other countries, it will be T+1. So as I was saying, we do, you don't have to worry about the slide here. What I'm saying is that, we manage the full compliance at the transaction level, because we are licensed by the central bank in all the countries where we operate. So we have to follow the same rigor around ensuring that compliance is done on all the transactions, which we do quite well. And that's why we are rated as one of the best players in the industry by most of the central banks. because our levels of compliance is at the same level as that of a bank. So while you don't have the inconvenience that typically and the high cost that a bank has, we offer you the same experience in terms of regulatory compliance and remittance services equal to a bank. So that's what we are basically trying to say here. Now, in this slide, what we are trying to show you is that what are the typical charges that a bank has, and you can see here some examples of how banks make money. So there is always, these charges are always hidden and they're never explained to you. So, for example, there will always be a handling commission. They will have some range there to say this is the handling commission. There would also be cable charges. There will be some agent bank charges. So when your recipient receives the money, there is going to be some deductions that will happen because of these charges. And these are built into the FX rate, or the rate that the bank is telling you that will apply for the transfer that they are doing. So a lot of these charges are inbuilt into the rate. So when, as a small company, you go to them and say, I want to transfer money, because your volumes may not be in hundreds, thousands, or millions, the bank will add a lot of these kind of charges and give you a rate which is going to be super aggressive or super high for you to pay. And that's why you may feel that, oh, if I have to transfer money from my country to another country, why is this that so much cost I have to pay? It's all because of these things that the banks has, where the bank makes money: the handling commissions, the commission in lieu of exchange, and cable charges, and agent bank charges. So all these are hidden into the pricing. So when you send money with us, the difference is that we offer you a lot of more functionality. So for example, on the left side, you can see we also provide, if you are if once you register with us and you use us, we have a concept of Insta Points. Insta Points is like reward points which you can redeem on Instagram website, and you can get a saving by using those Insta Points. So when you do transactions with us over time, you accumulate what are called as Insta Points, and those Insta Points can be redeemed for a saving onto the cost of doing exchange. We also have provide you a full transaction summary. So we will tell you what is going to be the conversion amount, what is going to be the fees you are going to pay. So for example, here, if you are sending 1000 Singapore dollar, we will tell you that you have to pay a fee of $4.5, and then based on the exchange rate, how much your recipient will receive, and the conversion rate which we are applying. So the fees of 4.5 is deducted from, say, the $1000 that you're wanting to send. So $995.5 will be converted into USD at this rate. So everything is transparent. We are not just giving the rate and hiding everything in the rate. Our difference is to disclose to you exactly how much is the fees you are paying and what is the rate, and you can go and compare that publicly in terms of what the rate we are charging and what is the fees we are charging. That's why it becomes transparent and affordable, because we are not trying to make money by adding several types of charges into the whole transaction. There is no cable charges, there's no fixed fee and all that kind of stuff that is inbuilt into our platform. And then again, as I was saying, it is speedy transfers because we can help you transfer the money in many currencies the same day. I also just wanted to introduce to you very quickly two small other products that we have. One is the use of credit card. What we, in our language, we call this as bill payment service. Basically, what it does is that if you have a credit card, say from Visa, you have a credit limit on it. Now, what happens is that that credit limit, where can you use today from a business standpoint, not as an individual person, but as a business, you can use your credit card for hotel, restaurant, travel. But as you know, because of pandemic, travel is not happening. Nobody's flying around. Nobody is using hotels and restaurants, to the same extent. So a lot of the limit on the card, which the bank may have given you, may be unutilized. So when you have an unutilized credit limit, you can actually use that limit to pay for the remittance that you are doing. So today I want to send $1,000 to my supplier. How do I pay for that $1,000? I can pay it through my bank account, but if I pay through my bank account, that money goes out quickly. Instead, I can use my credit card. If I use my credit card, there's a $1,000 limit on my card. I pay through that $1,000, which is on my credit card. Then what happens? My bank will give me a statement after 30 days, and I will get another 20, 25 days after that to make a payment. So instead of paying the money from my bank account right now, by using the credit card, I'm getting credit for 55 days. So I am extending my payment terms by leveraging the card credit limit instead of using my own bank funds to pay for a transfer that I want to do to my supplier overseas. So this concept is called bill payment service provider, or BPSP in short. B for bill, P for payment, S for service, and P for provider. Bill payment service provider, shortened to BPSP. BPSP allows you to use your credit card for making payments, and as a result, you enjoy 55 days of credit. Similarly, because you are using a bank credit card, you will earn some reward points from that bank as well, because most banks, when you use their credit card, offer you reward points. So a lot of the SMEs, what they do, they use these reward points for converting into air miles or for redeeming them for various kinds of gifts that the bank may be providing, and they use that. So the service allows you to get cash flow, and the service also allows you to get reward points, which today is not available when you transfer money out of your bank account. So in a way, this becomes a little bit different, innovative way of thinking of how can I use a credit card line to make payments. How does it work? Same, you just come on our platform and you can choose to use credit card instead of fund by account. And when you use the credit card, we will take an authorization from your bank because if the credit limit is okay, the bank will give us approval, and then we will make a payment to your beneficiary. Now, some companies in Singapore have started using this also for domestic payments, which means they will say, please debit my credit card and make salary payments to my employees. So they use the limit on the credit card to make salary payments and get 55 days of extended period of payment because they're using the card credit line, or they will pay the rent to the landlord using this concept. So domestic payments could be in form of salary payments to employees within Singapore, or to the landlord for the rent that they have to pay every month, or suppliers. So domestic payments are more in that area. Cross-border payments or overseas payments are typically either salary payments to their employees overseas or to suppliers overseas. So both can be done where the funding is happening through the use of credit card. Now the last one is receive, which is where we are talking about how we help you to collect money from your customers. So as I was saying before, you are an exporter, you have a buyer who's based overseas, and the buyer now has to pay you. So you have to send them an invoice, and once the invoice is sent, the buyer pays you. What we can do is we can help the buyer who has to pay you pay in local currency of their country. So for example, if you have someone in Europe, US, Singapore, or in Hong Kong, Australia, and these buyers have to pay you. Today, what happens is if you invoice them, they have to convert maybe Australian dollar into US dollar, or Australian dollar into PHP or IDR, and remit it to you. Instead, what we can do is we can open a virtual bank account for you in Australia or in Singapore. The virtual bank account will be in your name, but it will be opened under our master account in that bank. So I can open an account for your company name in, say, for example, Singapore, and then the buyer in Singapore can pay SGD into this account locally, so they don't need to convert. That's why it helps to save cost on cross-border fees, because the buyer is not remitting money to you you are collecting that money instantly within the local market. So how does it work? Simple. There are certain specific currencies in which we can open this account, and if you have buyers in those currencies, you tell them to pay in this local account that we have opened for you, and the moment Instarem collects that money into this account, this money is visible to you and you can then ask for this money to be transferred to your bank account, or you can use this money to make payments to other people that you want to make payments to. So it kind of cuts out that entire process of money being remitted across markets. So it saves time, it saves cost, and it gives you an instant control over the funds. Because if I collect money from your buyer in, for example, Singapore, you can instantly see that the money has been received in your Sing dollar account or wallet, and you can immediately use that Sing dollar to make a payment to somebody by converting SGD to USD. Otherwise, the standard process is for your buyer to send money to you, and that will take T+1 or T+2 days to reach you, and only after that you can use that money. Here you are getting more flexibility, instant control over the funds, and at a much cheaper cost. So basically, these are our three major solutions. The send part, the spend part, the credit card part is where we issue Visa cards. I didn't talk about that because that is still being rolled out. The main ones that we are doing at the moment is send and receive, and in between I talked about BPSP, which is the way for you to use your own credit card to make a payment for the remittance that you are doing. So Instarem, basically instant remittances, is a company that you can definitely trust, work with. We operate in multiple markets. We have a full suite of products. We have a whole infrastructure to support all kind of corporates, right from the smallest corporates to the largest corporates. You can see the funding that we or the our founders and the companies that have invested in us, including the government, gives us the stability and the credibility to service customers across geographies. So hopefully you found this session useful. I just wanted to, again, as I said, this is not a session to sell you anything. This was more to just share with you who we are and what we do. At any stage, if you feel that you are interested to know more about our services, please feel free to reach us. You can either reach me through Torch Group or you can reach me through Legento. But any query that you have, we will be happy to answer and give you more information. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and happy to take any questions, or we can move on from here. Thank you.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Sanjeev, for the wonderful and insightful presentation about Instarem. So basically, Instarem is a solution, right? A solution for small business and small medium business to leverage their own payment services, especially the business that are trying to expand their service globally and even worldwide. And so maybe I would like to ask a question as to previously, what are the costs that, so basically you mentioned that the bank transaction from the bank is charged like $20 and maybe 15 and an additional cost of $15. So my question will be, does every bank do that? Does every bank will charge every of that, or is it only just a few banks that will do that?
No, so I worked in HSBC for many years. There's not a single bank that doesn't want to make money. Banks have existed all this while because they can make money. How they make money is, there are two parts to it. One is the exchange rate. So if I am changing, say, IDR into another currency, what is the rate that you're going to charge me? So one is the FX rate, as we call it. Now the FX rate is very competitive because you can see it on the on xe.com, you can see it on Google, you can see it in Reuters, you can see what is the rate. So what the bank does is, that is not the rate that they give you. They give you a rate which is on top of that, they add their margins. Those margins include the fees. Some of them would be the fixed fees, some of them would be an FX margin that they will add into that. So as a customer, whatever rate they give you is inclusive of all those fees. However, they don't show you the split between what was the base foreign currency exchange rate and what is the fees they are charging you. They kind of lump it all together and give you a rate. The question is, if you as a customer, if you are a big multinational who's having millions of dollars that you are dealing with them, then they may give you a rate where the fees is much lower, because you will have treasury at your end as a company, you will negotiate with them based on the volumes that you have, etc. But the moment you are a small and medium enterprise, they will give you a rate which will at least be having a total cost of around 1% to 1.5% inbuilt into the FX rate. What we are trying to say is that you don't need to do all this by distinguishing between whether this company is a small company or this company is a big company. In our side, what we are doing is we are showing to everybody what is transparent in terms of the cost, irrespective of who you are. We don't differentiate between you being a small business versus another company being the top multinational of the world. No. So for us, it is treating everybody at the same level and being transparent to show what is the cost, so that you are informed as a customer that what am I paying for in terms of my services. So that way we distinguish ourselves from a normal bank. All banks charge fees. There's not a single bank that will not charge a fee. They will all charge a fee because nobody does free business in this world. So they are a financial institution, they will charge fees. The only thing is how transparent they are in terms of sharing that information with you as a customer, and what type of a customer you are. To be fair, if you are a large customer, you will have people in your company who are treasury people who will negotiate those rates with the banks because they are professionals. But if you are not that large a corporate, then the bank will give you a rate which you have to take it, because they are your bank, they're giving you that rate. And then to that extent you would be limited by what the bank tells you.
I see. So that's particularly how the bank works in terms of
Yes.
transferring money in
All
international.
right. All right. Thank you, Sanjeev, for the comprehensive presentation about Instagram and how what are the other services that, like for example, I didn't know about that, the debit card kind of concept, whereby you can actually have a credit line first to pay first. So maybe we ask our audience, because I've seen a few, I see a few people over here. I know Madam Rohania, she has businesses across the border, so she makes, obviously she makes payments for her products and things like that. Madam Rohania, are you there? Yes, all right, you're moving. Madam
Yes,
Rohania.
yes. Salam, Siraj. Thank you
Salam,
for
Madam
the
Rohania.
yeah. Thank you for the explanation. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I just have one comment, not a
Yes,
question.
please, please.
My business in JB, I'm just using PayNow. So I just pay using PayNow. It's instant and there's no charges involved. Yeah, but back to the explanation about the BBSP, I agree to a certain extent. The advantage I see is about the extension of your payment. That means you don't have to come out instant money from your bank. But I think the disadvantage is you have to pay promptly. Even a single day you lapse, I can't imagine the penalty the bank impose. This is I try to avoid actually. Yeah, is that
So
so?
that, yeah. So the answer is that if you have the money today to make a payment, you can keep that money aside for 55 days, because on the 55th day you should pay. The question is, the choice that you now have, it's a matter of choice. It's not a compulsion. The choice is that either you can pay today using your own bank account, or you can defer the payment by 55 days. But yes, on the 55th day, you have to pay. Somewhere you have to pay. The question is, do you pay now or do you pay 55 days later? Now everybody has that choice. Some people will say, no, I'm not interested in it because I'm cash rich. I have enough cash flow, and I want to just pay it now and get rid of it. That's fine. If somebody is not having that much of a luxury on cash flow, is a bit tight on managing their cash, then they will look at this as an option. So it depends on situation for every corporate, based on how their payment cycles are and how their receipts are. So if they are giving a lot of credit in the market, they're not receiving funds on time from their buyers, then their cash cycle is impacted. So their cash cycle impacted means they need to bridge that gap between the time they receive money to the time they pay money. So how do you do that? You can go and take a loan. When you take a loan, the loan comes with certain terms and conditions, and there are huge costs involved, because they will charge you a loan setup fee, they will have early termination charges, they will charge you an interest cost, there's a processing fees. So all those fees that the bank charges are basically tied to a loan. Plus, again, depends on what kind of a loan. They will ask you sometimes to securitize it by mortgage or by, say loans also are not easy to get. So the question
bridging.
is, bridge loan. So basically it's expensive. The question is, uh, if you have a credit card available with you, and you are not using it because there is no travel happening, or you are not entertaining as much because of the restrictions the government has put around because of pandemic, um, then obviously you can use it as an option.
Agree, sir. Yeah, agree. But another solution may be you pay by gyro, so you avoid all the penalty because you
can
pay
pay by
the
gyro.
minimum sum. Yeah,
Absolutely.
minimum
That's
payment.
again, as I said, it's a choice. You can pay by gyro as well.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you for your comment, Madam Rohania. Appreciate it a lot. Okay, anyone has any questions? Else I will ask the question. Mr. Sulki, are you there?
Of course, I'm here.
Mr.
Always.
Sulki has always, I'm in a group chat with Mr. Sulki, something related with Islamic finance or investment and CPF. Mr. Sulki, if I do not know him, wow, it's like amazing, he has got a lot of insights, and things like that. So Sulki, any questions or any comments on this online transfers of money? Yeah.
I guess online transfers will be the in thing of the future. It means people, once the COVID is over and people are traveling a lot, I think like traveling, and you don't have to carry a lot of cash with you.
Yeah.
You people used to go to money changer before they travel, and nowadays I think with all these payment systems and payment transfer systems so easily and available, I think future travel will be made easier, and also of course businesses transaction will be made even more easier.
Correct. Okay.
So,
Yeah,
so
I'm
to that
thinking of
point,
money in, not money out. This cookie is spending money out. I want money in.
I know you
one
can
interesting thing.
you can use that platform to have a money in at the same time.
Yes. Mr. Sulki, you raised one very good point. So what happens is, when you travel today, if you go overseas, you use a credit card. Now, when you use a credit card overseas for paying hotel, restaurant, or whatever, there is a lot of cost, because they convert the overseas currency into your local currency, and they charge 3-4% as a conversion amount in it. One of the things we are trying to do is, we just launched this Visa card. For example, I was talking about it earlier. The Visa card that we have, actually you can link it with your local home country card. So for example, if I'm in Singapore and I have a SGD card from DBS or any bank, and I'm going to Malaysia, suppose I go to Johor. In Johor, if I use the SGD card, that's in ringgit. So they will convert the ringgit into SGD, charge me 4% or 3%. DBS charges around 3%. So I'll end up having to pay 3% to convert each ringgit that I spend in Johor for shopping to SGD. Instead, what I can do is I can take an Instagram Visa card. I go to Johor. I link this Visa card with my SGD card. So I will spend in Johor using this Instagram card, but all the payment that will happen will only be treated like SGD. So that 3 or 4% FX is now saved. That's this beauty of this card that we have just launched. It allows you to save that FX fees, which otherwise a bank will charge when you use your SGD card in an overseas country. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to uh, enable our corporates and consumers in each country that we operate save money on all these extra charges that banks have, which they inbuilt into the way they do work or do business with consumers or corporate. So we're trying to break those costs down into something that is going to result into a lot of savings for people. You see, today when you travel, you're looking for convenience. I can't carry cash, so I will use card. But for that convenience, you are paying 3-4% extra just because they convert that ringgit or IDR back into SGD. What we are saying is enjoy the convenience, but you don't have to pay that 3-4% extra. So that is how we are trying to change the direction of payments industry going forward. When we talk about digital payments, this is what we are talking about. We are talking about how do we change the whole journey and user experience, and how do we help you save cost during that whole process. That's what we are trying to achieve in Instagram. And just one example, same is on remittances, same is on receiving or collecting money for you. So this is how we are differentiating ourselves from the players in the market.
I guess good to have different solutions, and in our disposal, at our disposal. So as and when one country have that the best what you call service, we will just use that one, and I think it's scalable quite easily.
Yeah, definitely it's scalable. I got a question, and this is relating to countries or Indonesia where the unbanked is high. There's a high number of population that is unbanked. So how do you see Instagram or any other of its fellow money transfer agencies can help the
So
people who are unbanked?
yes, so we are creating a product called Banking as a Service, or BaaS, as it is called in short form, BaaS, Banking as a Service. Okay, so always these acronyms are created because of the shortened version of what you're trying to do. So we are trying to create a product called BaaS, or Banking as a Service, which is basically an app-based application that would allow uh, customers to use at a single point, um, opening a bank account to asking for remittance to be done, to asking for a card, even doing dashboards or accounting. So we are trying to bring most of the finance related needs of a small or medium enterprise onto a BaaS. I give you an example of how we will work with this. So for example, I go to a dormitory operator in Singapore, okay, or I go to a construction company in Singapore that hires a lot of workers from overseas who typically are not or may not be having bank accounts, like to your question about unbanked sector. So what do they do today? A lot of these workers will go over the weekend to a money changer to send money overseas. They receive cash, dollars. So a lot of people land up in Little India. Nowadays they're not, but I think in phase 3 they will allow them to come. So the purpose is they want to send money to their families overseas, right? Because they don't have the traditional banking methods through which they can do it. With this, what I can do is I can go to a construction company. I can give them this app. This app can be made available on the mobile phone of each of the workers. The workers can use that app then to do everything, right from sending money to applying for a card, and it is through the construction company. So instead of having the people to go across and do physical cash exchange, we can work with the employer in such a way that the employer manages it for them while allowing the workers to have full control over those funds and having the flexibility to use it as and when they want. So we move away the need for the individual worker to go and do it by themselves by giving them a user experience that is all concentrated into a single app, but provided with the branding of the employer as well, so that the workers can manage it, and the workers are free to compare the rates with anybody else in the market to see how we stand versus others. And we have structured it in such a way that we have taken into account the fact that this is a section where affordability in terms of price would be super sensitive. So all those features of how we need to support an unbanked sector, which is very prominent even in a developed economy like Singapore, especially these workers who are coming from overseas, can be taken care of. And then we scale it in all other markets, like for example, you talked about Indonesia or even Philippines and so on and so forth, where we have a lot of migrant population that is moving around between cities or across borders and may not have formal bank accounts actually to manage their cash requirements or manage their fund requirements. So the banking as a service is the direction where we are moving into digitize that whole process and offer solutions to this sector.
Yes, this is unique because as we can see that before Indonesia had 90% of the all transactions were did offline, but currently since the pandemic, it has been growth to a lesser number doing the transaction in online. And we have a question here from Faisal Amir. Yes, so I'm going to read it. Hi, Mr. Sanjeev. My name is Faisal. I'm from Indonesia. I'm sorry I can't open my camera. Oh, due to on the road and I have a problem with my signal. That's okay. So I have a question for you. What are some things to consider when deciding to accept international payment in the business? Maybe Faisal is starting your business. Is beginning to start your business. Is that true, Faisal? Yeah.
It's okay. So basically, some of the things, so I can't comment upon who you are dealing or who you would want to deal with, because that is your business decision. But when you accept payments, it really depends on your own terms that you enter into with whoever is going to pay you. So I'm assuming that when you're wanting to do some export out of Indonesia and you have somebody who has to pay you. Now, if you have somebody to pay you, there are multiple things that to consider. One is which country are they based in? So what currency do you want to receive funds in? Do you want US dollars or do you want IDR? If you want US dollar for them to send, if they are in not in US or if they are in some other non-US currency, then the buyer would. So then it would be more around what's the billing currency, what the invoice. Do you want to send them in what currency? If you send them an invoice in US dollars and you receive, and they will be happy to pay in US dollars, but then the question for you would be, what will the local bank in Indonesia charge you for converting USD into IDR? What is going to be the cost you pay? If you say, I don't want to take any cost, I want to build that cost to my buyer who has to pay me that, then the question would be the invoice value to include that, and your buyer be willing to pay that invoice either in IDR or USD by taking that charges or cost involved onto their own self. So it becomes a matter of negotiation between you and your buyer to who has to pay you in terms of your commercial terms, which you only can enter into. I mean, say, I can't answer that for you. That is something you need to consider when you are entering into a commercial arrangement with somebody who has to make a payment to you. But normally what we see is companies, because it depends on the country you are in, normally they will ask USD as the standard payment currency. Some people like to receive money in their own home currency, so they will give them an invoice in the local currency like IDR. But please remember that the fees and charges involved could either be at your side when your own bank in Indonesia is going to convert USD to IDR, or on the buyer side, because if they have to pay you in IDR, then they have to convert their own currency into IDR and their bank will charge them fees and charges. So both sides, whether it is you or your buyer, somebody has to pay fees, and those fees are then dependent on which bank you are using and could be as much as around 1.5 to 2%.
Right, right. Yes. So we also have a question from Mrs. Rohania Muhammad. So how do we start with Instagram?
So Instagram is available in specific markets. As I was saying, we are there in Singapore, Malaysia. You are there in Indonesia. So what you have to do is you have to go on to please log into instagram.com, select business, and then you will be asked to register yourself. That's the easiest way you can do. The moment you register yourself, your details appear to our team in that country. So I have a team in Singapore that will receive your request and details and will contact you to complete the registration process. So first step is for you to log into instarent.com and select business. And under that, you can then go, it will ask you to leave behind your details like your name and your contact number or email. And then Instagram will get in touch with you to complete the registration process. We will need some KYC related documents from you. So we'll ask you for that. We don't typically ask for financial statements. All we'll need is information about your company and your ID proof and stuff like that. So that process once completed, you can use the platform for sending remittances. And as I said, the rates are all displayed there. You can see what's going to be your cost. If that is attractive for you, I'm sure you'll be happy to use it. But you will receive a salesperson from our side will get in touch with you to complete the registration process after you leave your information on our portal.
Right. So it is pretty easy, right, to join.
Yeah, very easy. Just go on the portal. It's all digital now. So you go on the portal, just select that, and it will open a landing page. Just fill in your name.
Yeah, I will vouch for that. I think it's to sign up is easy. Like how Sanjeev mentioned, there is some documents that you need to give. I think this is probably what Sanjeev, MAS regulatory framework or something like that. So we need to give some documents, and then which is, if I'm not wrong, ACRA, our registered company registration, and it was fast. I mean, it's good. I think Instagram is not just some fly-by-night company, because they ask questions on top of that. They ask, I was like, okay, just give me an account. Just give me an account. Like, no, no, I want to know what is the purpose. No, so I think these are all probably anti-money laundering laws and things like that. But I was like, no lah, look at my transaction. I can't launder anything with that. Yeah. So any questions? Any other questions, Farah, or any one of our friends?
Yes, actually, we got another question from Samsim. Hello, Samsim. Yes, basically, he said that he was unable to open the video, but he asked, will Instagram explore Middle East?
Yes, at the moment, I get a lot of query from customers about Middle East, Africa. We can send money to Middle East, and we can send now money to African countries. But if the question is, do we have offices in Middle East? Do we have licenses to operate directly in Middle East? The answer is we have a general manager for Middle East based out of Dubai, but we yet don't have license in Middle East to operate locally within Middle East as a business entity. But if your question is designed to ask that can I send money through Instagram to Middle East, the answer is yes. And you can also send money to Africa. The answer is yes. We can even send money to Latin America, Brazil, and many other countries. There are very few players outside of the banks who can do it for you, even in a matured market like Singapore. If you want to send money to Latin America, you will not find many players in the market. So Instagram can do all those. But if the question is, do you have an office in Middle East? Do you have a license to operate in Middle East? Then the answer is not yet.
Yes, I see. It is not yet, but it will be in the future, right?
Yeah. So just like we have an office in Indonesia, in Jakarta, because we have the license from the central bank in Jakarta to operate. If it is, the question is, do you have an office in Dubai and do you have a license from Dubai authorities to operate a money remittance license locally in Dubai? The answer is not yet. However, if the question is, do you send money to Middle East in AED or USD? The answer is yes. There are two different things. When we talk about license, means you are registered under the central bank of that country to operate. Like in Malaysia, Bank Negara, for example, gives you the license, or MAS in Singapore gives you the license, or HKMA in Hong Kong gives you the license. So in Middle East, we still are applying for the license. We haven't yet got it, but that does not mean that we can't send money to Middle East. So the two things are different. So I don't know what the question purpose of that question was, but I'm explaining both sides so that hopefully it addresses the question.
Yeah, so maybe you have to wait, Mr. Samsim. Just be patient. So, but you can always send money to Middle East. And is there any other questions from the participants? Yeah, well, if not, then maybe I will like to ask a question. So basically, Instagram operates in many countries. If I'm not mistaken, 34 countries, right, Mr. Sanjeev?
No, we operate physically in 8 countries.
Oh, in 8 countries.
But we can send money. Actually, that slide is a bit, it should have been updated to 180 countries. We can now send money to 180 countries. Basically, offices of Instagram are in 8 countries.
All right. So which of these countries are you planning to focus on in terms of going to 2021? So do you plan to focus on each of the countries, or are there any specific countries that you are focusing on in Instagram?
So Instagram, we are focusing on all the countries. So if you look at my job is to manage all the countries. So so the way I'm trying to look at it is that how do I grow my business in, so Singapore for us is the headquarters. So that's why it's quite a matured market for us. But we want to grow Indonesia, we want to grow Malaysia, we want to grow Australia, India. We also want to grow US, which is very important for us as a market. Now, what has also happened is that while Instagram is a company that is 5-year-old, we have now started, we also have an entity called NIUM, N-I-U-M, NIUM. NIUM is basically that part of our business where we are working with institutions. Like, for example, Skrill or Ripple or Payoneer. These are other companies in the market who also provide remittance services, or for example, banks. So what we do, like Mashreq Bank, for example, in Dubai, what we do is these banks or these companies, they have a tie-up with Instagram. So basically, Instagram provides the money transfer capability as the engine behind what you see these banks do or these institutions do. So that part of our business where we are not visible to you as a customer, but behind the scenes, we are the engine for those cross-border payments. That part of our business is under the brand called NIEM. The direct customer facing business is under the brand called Instarem. So when we talk about Instarem per se, which is where we are dealing with you directly as a customer, that business we want to grow across all these markets in a big way in 2021. On the institutional side, where we are entering into, say, the being the engine behind some of these large institutions capabilities to provide services, that's where also we are looking to grow substantially, because that is a relatively younger part of the company that started about 3 years ago, while Instarem is 5-year-old. So the consumer and the small corporate side of the business, which is Instarem, we have aggressive plans to grow in some of these markets that I mentioned before. And then on the NIEM side, which is more on the institutional side of our business, we are going to be growing a lot more into the European sector, the Latin American sector, the US sector, which are important markets for us on the institutional business.
All right, thanks. Okay, so are there any other questions? Facebook or here? If there are no questions, okay. Thank you so much, Sanjeev and Luginto from Instagram. You know, you guys have actually shared, Sanjeev especially, you know, all how to get on Instagram, what are the services of Instagram. And now over here, let's. I'm gonna be very frank. There is no commission or something like that from for me or anything. But again, it's something good, it's something useful, and you guys should try it out. Again, Instagram is not the only money remittance company online, but I can vouch it's one of the best. All right. So again, if you guys have any questions, if I am not wrong, Ruginto is in our group chat, the Zoom networking group chat. You can always,
Yes, I am.
yeah, great. So you can always just say hi, Ruginto. You know, I need some help. PM me or something like that. I'm sure Ruginto will look into that. Yeah, thank you, Madam Rohania, for also being here. Madam Rohania, maybe you can, I'm not sure if you can switch on the camera or microphone. Maybe you can say a few words about yourself. Maybe introduce in 2 minutes. What do you do?
Okay, jangan so official sangat lah Rohania Mama. Okay, that's my name.
Kak
Only
Ani,
the bank.
Kak Ani is
Only the
actually like
bank.
my sister. So Kak Ani, please.
When I have Rohania Mama, it's only the bank or the police will call me. Okay, I'm affectionately known as Ani Mo in the commercial. Okay, Ani is my name, Mo is my father. So I'm from, we run a family business, Jamil Catering, and we have a group of companies. I also do a JC Frozen. That's where I got my things from JB. Yeah, and now I'm going to doing ready to eat paste. And I think you talk about food, it's endless. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. And we have a stall, Nasi Lemak stall, as you can see from the photo there. It's at number 73A, Air Raja Crescent. Do come Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
I would love to.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Thank you, Animo. Appreciate it a lot. Nice.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sulki, please. Maybe you can introduce a bit about what you do. I know you do a lot, so probably 2 minutes. Hey, you're mute. You're mute.
Yeah, 2021 will be a bit more focused on what we're going to do. 2021 will be the year that we want to build our own digital out-of-home network. So, and there'll be a lot of work, a lot of plans, and all the others will be played down a bit, passing it to some other people to keep it running. But for this year, 2021, will be focusing on our digital out-of-home advertisement network.
Okay.
Kak
All right.
Ni, I would like to talk to you about your nasi lemak store. I want to put screen. I'm not joking. I'm serious. I want to
No
put
need to start, just come. Yeah.
We should all come over to JC one of these days and have nasi lemak lunch, man. Get
Oh,
together.
sure.
Five in a table, but I think Monday 8,
8.
Monday 8. Okay, next week then. All right, and then catch up. Yeah. An extra 2 minutes because you use a technical jargon. What is the digital out of home network? Give me a jargon.
Okay, basically LED screens outside of the house. You see on the streets, those are digital out of homes.
Oh,
That's for it. Any television set, any LED walls, any LED screen you see outside of your house on a public space, that is digital out of home.
so are you into advertising?
That
Or
would be
you-
our aim, because that's why the network is an advertising network. You can put your advertisement on our network. That's what we want to do. Moving away from the social media, internet, and moving towards to more physical screens, which is going to be a more what they call this in demand in the future. Actually,
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, Sulki. Hi, does it include those ads that we see at the bus stops, that keeps on moving every few seconds?
yeah. Okay, that is done by JC the Core. Currently, only JC the Core have the license to put those screens on bus stops because they pay lots and lots of money for it.
Nothing to do with me. I'm JC also. Nothing to do with me.
Mr. Sulki, I
Yeah.
also see a car with digital media. Is it also part of what you can say advertising in digital?
Yes, it's all out of home, right? It's all outside of your house, so it's part of digital out of home. We already talking. We are in discussion with a Thai company to put advertisement inside the Thai taxis. So these are all digital out of homes.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I like best the eye walker. I wish I can have one on my shoulders.
That one will be strongly marketed next year, and we already have a few people lining up to use it. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, but they should look at my advertisement, not me. Yeah.
Of course. Bring your brand anywhere you want the streets.
Yeah. Either all works, right?
Yeah, like I said, digital out of home is basically advertisement right on the streets. So it also in areas where people are sitting down, people are in the captive condition environment. So that's the easiest, one of the growing what do you call this advertisement platform, which people not in Asia yet, but in Europe and US is picking up because there's too much noise and too much competition in the internet. So big brands are actually moving out from the internet-based media, social media marketing, and content marketing. To them, they're spending too much money, too much advertisement dollars to in a place where it's too much noise.
Yeah, but when I do that, I want to be donned in a Transformer suit instead.
Yeah. I will use that, the Star Wars, the guy, with
Yeah.
with the helmet on.
I mean, New Year is coming. I mean, the end of the year. It'll be good because there'll be crowd,
Yes,
towards the countdown. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we are going to start on the 28th of December. So to start rolling it out on the streets. And one thing that we have about this iWalker specifically, we can measure the crowds that's in front of it because it has a built-in audience measurement systems.
Oh, you do that? Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
so as we walk on the streets, we will know how many people is watching, male, female, age. So it's all built in.
Wow, fantastic.
Audience measurement system by QVD, one of the best QVD is one of the leaders, leading company in audience management.
Yes. So previously we used offline billboards, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Now it's digital
stationary
billboard.
billboard.
I have, thanks to Mr. Siraj, brother Siraj, I think we are going very strongly into Indonesia, inshallah.
Yeah, that's good for thanks to your perseverance actually, Suki, again, it's something that is viable in Indonesia, but as usual, business discussions can take some time.
But I
But yeah,
know that
but our perseverance, our resilience, that's the only way to get our brands over there. And the big boys are all around the region. I was telling to one guy, and sometimes they don't share their secrets with us. When I went to Medan, there's Guardian, there's Best Denki,
yeah,
all the big boys are there. I was like, hey, wow, in Medan,
yeah,
so that's where we have to do something. And it's also good for our brands like Singapore brands or any other brands to actually advertise in Indonesia.
correct.
Because now you can get on the platform. So good stuff.
Good
All
stuff.
right. Do we have anyone else? Okay. I think I'll wrap up today's session. Thank you so much again for attending this. Please look for Luginto or Sanjeev, for further details if you want to get on Instagram. I think Farah also will share some notes over our Facebook page. Do like, share, and follow our Facebook page, Torch Group. You can again catch the live, the recorded session on that platform, and also get some notes on this session. All right, guys. Thank you again.
Thank you,
Merry
Aaron.
Christmas to those who are
Pleasure.
celebrating. Happy holidays.
Yeah,
Yes,
Thank
happy
you.
holidays.
Happy
Happy New
holidays.
Year.
all right. Take care.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Stay safe.
Thank you all.
You.
Signing off. Bye.
Bye.